Kyle Larson, the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion and current points leader, has made a startling announcement. Following his dominant performance at Bristol Motor Speedway, where he led 462 of 500 laps, Larson has publicly addressed the ongoing issues with the next-gen car on short tracks and criticized the NASCAR fans' response to these challenges. Larson's comments come at a crucial time for NASCAR, as the sport grapples with declining fan interest in short track racing, a format that has long been considered the backbone of stock car competition. The introduction of the next-gen car in 2022 was meant to usher in a new era of parity and excitement, but its performance on tracks 1 mile and under has been consistently underwhelming. In a recent appearance on the DJD Reloaded podcast, Larson shared his pragmatic take on the situation. I don't know because, well, for one, I'm not a car owner, so I don't deal with... I think it's easy for us to sit here and say, oh, well, the tires might not be the biggest thing that's going to change the racing, so we need to start changing stuff on the cars, taking aero away, hiding aero, or doing this or doing that. I think that the team owners don't want to change the cars because it's going to cost them a lot of money, so I don't know. I think it's just a tricky situation right now. Larson's comments highlight the complex nature of the problem, acknowledging that while starting with tire adjustments might be the easiest solution, it's not a comprehensive fix. He added, sure, they can definitely come up with tires that can help. Not every race is going to be a race. I think we just have to come to grips with that. And sure, we want every race to be super exciting, but not every football game is exciting. Whatever sport you're going to watch, you're going to have some blowouts every now and then. That's just how it is sometimes, but I don't know, it's tough. The driver's perspective is particularly noteworthy given the contrast between the Bristol night race and the spring event at the same track. While the spring race featured over 54 lead changes due to significant tire wear, the recent playoff race saw Larson dominate with minimal competition. This disparity has reignited debates about the next-gen car's suitability for short track racing. Dale Earnhardt Jr., a NASCAR legend and prominent voice in the sport, has expressed grave concerns about the future of short track racing. Following the lackluster Bristol race, Earnhardt stated, "I do not see short track racing surviving this if they don't find some solution. It's not out of the question to think that, in just a few years, the Martinsvilles and the Bristols are going to be really hanging on."
I do not see short track racing surviving this if they don't find some solution. We lost one Richmond, and it's not out of the question to think that in just a few years, the Martinsvilles and the Bristols are going to be really hanging on by a thread to keep their 2 races.
Earnhardt's comments underscore the historical importance of short tracks in NASCAR and the rapid shift from fans clamoring for more short track events to the current dissatisfaction with the racing product. He mentioned that not long ago, fans and the NASCAR community were begging for more short tracks to the point where the hashtag was trending on social media. But now, the situation has become dire, with many questioning the viability of short tracks on the schedule due to the poor racing quality. In response to the widespread criticism, Larson has taken an unexpected stance, calling out the entire NASCAR community for its approach to the problem. In a series of posts on social media platform X, Larson stated, "Everybody wants to blame Goodyear and everybody's got the answers. Nobody has the answers. Goodyear doesn't have the answer. NASCAR doesn't have the answer about their car and why it doesn't run good in traffic." Larson's frustration is palpable as he continues, "Us, the drivers and the teams and engineers, we don't have the answer either, so I don't know. It's hard to have opinions and hard when you don't have the facts to back anything up." This admission from one of the sport's top performers highlights the complexity of the issues facing NASCAR and the lack of clear solutions. The Hendrick Motorsports driver has also taken a strong stance in defense of Goodyear, the official tire supplier for NASCAR. Larson argues that blaming Goodyear for the poor racing quality is misplaced and unfair. It's just frustration, and it's not like I'm defending our dominating run. I'm just in a way trying to defend our sport and defend Goodyear because they get such a bad rap every week, like they're the problem of why our racing sucks. It's not them, Larson explained.
It's frustration, I guess. Like you said, I don't really ever get on social media anymore, but no, I was just annoyed, like there's so many people in the industry that they see a car lead 462 laps and they automatically think it's a terrible race. There's no tire wear, there's no this, there's no that, There's never been tire wear at Bristol besides one race in the last 10 years. So it's like everybody forgets about the past. And then too, so everybody wants to blame Goodyear and everybody's got the answers and whatnot. And it's just, nobody has the answers. Goodyear doesn't have the answer. NASCAR doesn't have the answer about their car and why it doesn't run good in traffic. Us, the drivers and the teams and engineers, we don't have the answers either. So it's just, I don't know. It's hard to have opinions and hard to, when you don't have the facts to back anything up. So, it's just frustrating. And it's not even like I'm defending our dominating run. I'm just, in a way, trying to defend our sport and defend Goodyear because they get such a bad rap every week. Like, they're the problem of why our racing sucks. So it's not them.
Larson's social media activity following the Bristol race has been uncharacteristically extensive. Known for being relatively quiet and less expressive, the driver penned a lengthy note addressing fan criticism and urging them to temper your expectations. He pointed out the historical challenges of passing at Bristol and criticized the short-term memory of fans and media. In an interview, Larson elaborated on his motivation for the post. I think I said that because I've been a part of some not-so-exciting races where somebody might lead a lot of laps, not a lot of passing, and then we get a caution at the end and we have 1 or 2 overtime finishes, and then I look at the poll the next day and it's like, the best race of the year. That's where I was coming at from Bristol. I could have led 450 laps and had 2 green-white checkered finishes. I could have won or lost. It had nothing to do with me, but we could have had 2 overtime finishes and the poll would have looked totally different. Larson suggested that in such a scenario, there would be different or even less conversation about tires in the next-gen car. He remarked that the current discourse in NASCAR is a telltale sign of where everyone is mentally. It's just the mindset of all of us. We're very short-term memory. It's easy for us to forget about things that happened an hour ago, but what we see right in front of us can skew our decisions. Larson said, the number 5 driver also addressed the issue of tire wear at Bristol, stating, there's only been 1 race where we've had tire wear in the last 10 or 11 years I've been going there. He remarked that everyone is baffled and that because there wasn't enough tire wear, they should have been more baffled. Larson reiterated his point from the lengthy post, claiming that Bristol is Bristol, a racetrack which is fast-paced with relatively less passing, and Larson's crew chief, Cliff Daniels, has also entered the fray, defending the next-gen car against growing criticism. Daniels argues that the next-gen platform has potential for future growth, and explains the aerodynamic differences between the old and new cars. Chew on this. Old car and current Xfinity, the trailing car can move the leading car with air. Nose down and back up. G7. Gen 7 racing is nose up and back down, and trailing car cannot scoop or pack air towards the leading car bumper. Daniels explained, while acknowledging that improvements are needed for short tracks and road courses, Daniels remains committed to the next-gen platform. He stated, the framework of the G7 car and idea provides great racing on some tracks, and we want better on others. That's perfectly okay. Daniels also called for continued fan support, saying, keep watching, keep supporting, and don't give up on us. Also, tune in this weekend. Kansas will be a great race. Larson's dominant performance at Bristol has become a focal point in the ongoing debate. His victory, where he led 92.4% of the race, ranks as the most dominant showing of the next-gen era. It surpassed other notable performances, including Martin Truex Jr.'s win at New Hampshire in 2023, where he led 84.4% of the laps. When asked about the records broken during his Bristol win, Larson remained focused on the present. I think whenever I'm done racing or done being a driver at Hendrick Motorsports and those records are still there, then yeah, it'll mean a lot to me. But for right now, it's like you're just trying to do a good job and the records will take care of themselves, I guess. I'm sure I'll be able to kind of think about it more when I'm down the road now. The issues surrounding the next-gen car on short tracks have put NASCAR at a crossroads. The sport faces a trade-off between different track types. With the new car performing exceptionally well on intermediate tracks and superspeedways but struggling on short tracks and road courses, this disparity has led to concerns about the future of short track racing, a format that has been integral to NASCAR's identity and grassroots appeal. The focus has shifted to tire solutions, but as the recent Bristol race demonstrated, this approach has limitations. NASCAR Senior Vice President of Competition Elton Sawyer acknowledged in a Sirius XM interview earlier this year that continued work on the car's aerodynamics doesn't move the needle, and the drivers will tell you that. So there is no need for us to put a lot of energy towards that type of testing. The impact of car parity on racing quality has become a central issue. Chris Gabehart, Denny Hamlin's crew chief, told Front Stretch that Saturday's show was actually as racy as you can expect it to be at Bristol with this car. He elaborated, "They're all separated by .000 and physics is a buffer. These are the world's best stock car teams and drivers. If you don't give them enough ways to separate themselves, that's what you're going to see." Cliff Daniels echoed this sentiment, telling Sirius XM, "The overarching goal of the next-gen car was to create parity, and now we have so much parity that we're trying to create disparity with the tires. The situation has become so dire that Dale Earnhardt Jr. suggested on his Dale Jr. Download podcast that NASCAR should quickly gather a variety of voices in a room behind closed doors and figure out what it would take to entirely overhaul the next-gen car for short-track races."
But how long do we have? How much time do we have in the bank before we are bankrupt? You know what I mean? In the short, in with our fans